After fighting wars on multiple fronts for months, Israel is now concerned that unrest in Syria could spill over into its territory. At the same time, we also view the end of the Assad regime as another step to weaken the axis of resistance, leading by Iran, of course, and also as a chance to disrupt their ability to, again, smuggle weapons through Syria, to use this theater as another front for that serve the Iranian axis goals. And I think that in light of recent events, and there is a great uncertainty on where things are heading in Syria, Israeli, as an immediate step, would say, stepped up its military campaign, began seizing control of demilitarized buffer zone in Syria, created as part of the 1974 ceasefire between the countries. And also another military campaign, of course, has to do with the intense strike that we've been seeing in the past few days. So we're talking about approximately over 300 strikes in Syrian territory, most of them from the air, resulting in the destruction of a significant portion of the Syrian Air Force's infrastructure and aircraft. The strikes were aimed at destroying Syrian military infrastructure and weapons, of course, including large bases, tanks, and naval and aerial combat assets. And this is part of our effort to minimize potential future threats that could be posed from the Syrian theater. We still don't know who is going to govern Syria. And there are a lot of question marks about the, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham current agenda, although they'll be trying to depict themselves as a more moderate organization. But we all remember the source of this organization, the jihadi source of HTS. And this is something that Israel would, therefore, it's been quite proactive in order to secure its national interest. So I would say that Israel is not on the top of their priorities. They're more concerned with, first of all, with the toppling Assad. That was quite a successful attack 2 weeks ago that, resulted in a completely different political landscape in Syria. And they're now has been focusing more on stabilizing the situation and trying to create a more convenient theater or atmosphere to promote a political process to Syria. So Israel is not on the agenda. From what we know from the past, they view Iran as an opponent. They view Iran as a foreign force who are trying to occupy their territories and try to implement the Shiite perception and thoughts on their population. So generally speaking, I would say that they view Iran as an opponent. Israel is not a friend as well, but again, it's not on the top priority right now. But again, things are so unstable and uncertain right now, and it would be interesting to see which direction HTS and its other allies would follow eventually. So I think Israel took this immediate operational step to secure the situation and to make sure stability is kept on the border northern, but officials in Israel keep stressing and emphasize the idea that it's a necessary step, but also temporary defensive position. It's not a permanent, controlling over territory without any aspiration to control further territories in Syria. But in Israel, they're waiting for a more, stabilized situation and a governing entity that could basically effectively enforce those agreements. So for now, I don't see any, further aspiration to expand the territory there. Well, if you ask me, I don't think that, I think that I can understand the logic behind the current step as the necessity to take an immediate step to secure our military interest and security interest in the border. I find it hard to believe that it will serve, staying there for a long time will serve Israel interest. As I said, Israel is not on the top of the agenda of HTS or other rebels organizations. Some of them, especially in southern Syria, view Israel in a much more positive perspective than, of course, Assad and its allies. So there are some advantages in this current situation. I don't see any benefits stems from keeping the Syrian territory in Israeli hands. I can understand the logic of doing it for as a temporary step, but not for the long term. I think Israel needs to now. It's our time to translate the military achievement that we managed to reach throughout this very difficult year, and to translate them into political achievements, and to engage with the new positive actors in Syria, both state countries that are involved in this country and non-state actors like the Druze communities and other positive communities that could, share similar interests with Israel and could cooperate together in order to bring, I would say, more optimistic and brighter future both to Israel and the Syrian people. Yeah, and also it's a more sensitive time due to the trial that is being conducting as we speaking. Um, but then again, I think most of the population in Israel support any military action in light of what happened over a year ago, and in order to prevent another terrible scenario that will occur again from other theaters. So I would say that most of the population in Israel would probably support. I didn't see any polls that were conducted, but I think that we'll see a large support in this military campaign on various fronts. I think that based on recent events and I would say the new image that Israel managed to adopt as a powerful country with deterrence capability and military and advanced military and intelligence capabilities in the region. And again, based on the trauma that we still bear of October 7, I think that Israel will not rely on external forces to secure its own interests it will prefer taking direct, policy and to be more proactive in order, both militarily, in order to prevent the potential of emergence and new threats, military threats, both from Syria and Lebanon. So I wouldn't say, I'm not that sure that Israel would cease its aerial strikes in Syria, even though the fact that Assad is no longer there. If we'll see and if we'll identify another attempt by Iran to strengthen its position, to entrench themselves all over again in Syria, Israel will not, watch it from behind without doing anything in order to disrupt this effort. Been asking ourselves what would be the next, because as I said, what would be the next theater that would be undermined, and we will see there also a dramatic shift in the situation. I think that the fact that Iran, suffered a significant blows by, each and every almost one of their proxies were hit badly. Hamas in Gaza Strip, Hezbollah in Lebanon, of course, with the elimination of Nasrallah and the entire command and control leadership, and now Assad. So it seems quite natural that the next unstable theater would be Iran. But of course, it has to do with a lot of domestic factors, the fatigue of the population, and whether they will manage to, overcome this fatigue and the fear from the regime, and to, leverage the current energy in the Middle East to tackle or to disrupt the Iran stability also in Iran itself. So it's hard to tell, but I think the chances are more likely that it will happen now comparing to past period. I think that it's almost impossible to, go to be in such a even worse situation that we were the most worst situation in the past year. And I think that we all know that, conflict can, as a spillover effect, but also political settlement, I believe that is a demonstration effect. And once we reached sort of a ceasefire with Lebanon, and hopefully we'll manage to reach a ceasefire with Gaza and a political settlement with Gaza as well, I hope that the next theater would be Syria, of course, and perhaps the state of Lebanon, not just a ceasefire with Hezbollah, but something broader. And we will see a detente era in the Middle East, like we saw a few years ago when, different actors, rivals actors decided to engage with one another in order to, overcome the challenges in a more peacefully manner. So I hope that this time Israel would be able to join this trend and will be managed to reach diplomatic solution with our surrounding. This is a very optimistic description, but I think that once we will reach ceasefire or other form of agreements with different actors in the region, it could also influence and become, we could expand this trend.